In a world where attention is currency, where presence is measured by posts, and where silence is often mistaken for irrelevance, there are people who choose not to participate. They don't post updates. They don't scroll endlessly. They don't document their lives for strangers. And in a society that treats visibility as existence, that choice feels almost rebellious. People assume they're hiding, or disconnected, or falling behind. But psychology reveals something far more interesting. Some of the most grounded, self-aware, and mentally independent people are the ones who don't use social media at all. Not because they can't, but because they understand something most people don't. The modern pressure to be seen. Social media is no longer just a tool. It's a social expectation. In the US, online presence is tied to social relevance, career, visibility, popularity, validation, identity. Not being online can feel like social disappearance. So when someone opts out, the question becomes, what are they avoiding? But psychology flips that question. What are they protecting? Social media and the reward loop. Social platforms are engineered around dopamine. Likes, comments, shares, notifications. Each one creates a small neurological reward. For many people, this loop becomes addictive. But some minds don't respond strongly to this kind of validation. People who don't use social media often have low dependence on external approval, stable internal self-esteem, strong self-reference systems. Their brain doesn't crave digital affirmation. They already know who they are. Internal versus external identity. Social media encourages external identity. Who you are becomes what you post, how you're perceived, how you're received. People who avoid social media tend to build internal identity. Their sense of self comes from personal values, private experiences, inner alignment. They don't feel the need to constantly project themselves outward to feel real. Their identity exists even when no one is watching. Highly aware minds see the illusion. Many people who don't use social media see through it early. They notice curated realities, performative happiness, manufactured outrage, comparison traps. Once the illusion breaks, participation feels hollow. They don't want to live inside a filtered version of life. They prefer reality, even when it's quieter. Emotional regulation and mental peace. Social media creates emotional volatility. Constant exposure to opinions, conflicts, tragedy, comparison, polarization. For emotionally intelligent people, this becomes exhausting. Avoiding social media is not avoidance of reality. It's emotional regulation. They choose peace over stimulation. Attention is a finite resource. People who don't use social media often understand something deeply. Attention shapes reality. What you consume influences mood, alters perception, programs thought patterns. They protect their attention like a limited resource. Not everything deserves access to their mind. Low need for social comparison. Social media thrives on comparison. Success, beauty, lifestyle, opinions. People who opt out often have low comparison drive, strong self-definition, little interest in status signaling. They don't measure their life against highlight reels. They measure it against personal fulfillment. Private lives feel safer. Some people experience the world deeply. They don't want to broadcast emotions, explain experiences, turn life into content for them. Privacy is not secrecy. It's sanctuary. Moments feel more real when they're not shared. Autonomous thinkers resist herd mentality. Social media amplifies group thinking, trends, outrage cycles, collective emotions. People who don't use social media often resist emotional contagion, binary thinking, algorithm-driven opinions. They prefer forming beliefs slowly, through reflection, not reaction. Less noise, more depth without constant scrolling. These individuals often invest in reading, learning, creating real conversations, long-term goals. Their minds are not fragmented. Depth replaces noise. Why they're often misunderstood. Society interprets absence as arrogance or isolation. But many people without social media have close relationships, communicate intentionally, value quality over quantity. They are not disconnected. They are selective. Confidence without an audience. True confidence doesn't need witnesses. People who don't use social media are often comfortable being unseen, being unvalidated, being misunderstood. Their worth doesn't fluctuate with engagement metrics. Social media and identity fragmentation. Constant online presence can fragment identity. Different versions for friends, work, public image. People who opt out often feel more whole. One self, one life, One reality. When avoidance becomes unhealthy, psychology draws an important line. Healthy. Conscious disengagement, intentional boundaries. Unhealthy. Fear-based isolation, avoidance of connection. Most people who don't use social media are not avoiding people. They're avoiding noise. The future belongs to attention-aware people. As digital overload increases, attention will become the new luxury. Those who already know how to disconnect will adapt best. Not because they reject technology, but because they control it. If you don't use social media, you're not behind. You're not invisible. You're not disconnected. You're not missing life. You're living it without filters, metrics, or performance. And in a world addicted to attention, that's a rare kind of strength. If this video resonated with you, if it explains something you've always felt but never articulated, subscribe to this channel. Because here we don't glorify noise. We explain human behavior. Like the video, share it with someone who thinks being offline means being out of touch. And remember, some of the strongest minds don't need an audience.